for someday? Ready to finally start living your best life right now?
You're in the right place. I'm David.
And I'm Wendy.
And this is the David and Wendy podcast. We're your life coaches here to move you from the excuses to action.
From mastering your mindset to finding real joy, we're keeping it real, raw, and maybe just a little ridiculous.
Let's get into it, Wendy.
Let's go, David. Welcome back to the David and Wendy podcast. What you see is what you get. This week, we are talking about the Reticular Activating System, RAS, and how it is working for you 24/7. Well, David, what the heck is RAS? Can you help me and our listeners understand what RAS is and how it works?
Yeah. Okay. It's part of the brain. There are some misinterpretations about it floating around out there, but it's a real thing. The concept was first established by doctors back in 1949, and since then the study has continued, and it has become much better understood. It has actually been mapped in the brain using the advanced MRI technologies.
Wow, that's kind of cool. And it also confirms to me when I hear that it is a real thing.
Right. It is a real thing. And just to get technical for a second, it's actually a bunch of neural pathways that start down in the brainstem, and then they work their way up into the thalamus and spreading extensively throughout the cerebral cortex. It's, it's
Wow.
in there. It's all in there. They can see it. As a matter of fact, neurologists know that specifically that pinpoint damages to that RAS pathways, to those neuronal pathways, is actually what causes comas and persistent vegetative states. In fact, with irreversible loss to this system, you can actually, it's a core. It's actually the core criterion in modern medical and legal definition of brain death. So when the RAS gets damaged irreversibly, right, it's unable to heal, the brain just stops.
So
That's the definition of stopping.
right. So in other words, if somebody's proclaimed brain dead, that whole RAS system has been damaged. If
Yes.
I'm understanding that correctly. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's a real subtle yet quite important piece in there.
Sure is. Wow.
And another interesting thing is that it controls your sleep-wake cycles, right? When the RAS lowers its activity, gets quiet, which can happen if you have a regular routine of going to sleep. As it lowers, you fall asleep. And when it turns back on or fires up again, you wake up. It dictates your baseline level of alertness. And it is your input for all that you experience. And it only shows you the things that are, what you're focused on, what you're thinking and believing. It and filters out everything else, right? What you're giving, it shows you what you're trying to give your most attention to.
So when I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and my mind starts thinking, you mean to tell me that it started before that while I was sleeping? Like, it became, as you said, fired up. Is that why, it may be important for me to process, or a person to process through their day's events and things that have going on emotionally before you fall asleep? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, right. Especially when you're wanting to remember something important, right? It's on your mind, and that's what happens. Your mind goes, "Oh, wait, what about this thing?" And you're like, and you wake up in the middle of the night.
Right.
So before you go to bed, it's a good idea to go ahead and make a list of all the things that are racing around in your head that you want to make sure to remember in the morning. And then you just tell yourself, here it is. It's all taken care of. It's all written down. And then you can just pick it up in the morning. And this allows you to sleep soundly, knowing that you will remember everything you wanted to in the morning.
Huh. Well, now I know what I'm going to be doing every night before I go to bed.
Right, right. Um, and this is kind of how it works. Think about it. Are you aware of the feeling of your clothes touching your body every second, all day long? Are you continually aware of the feeling of sitting in the chair, right? Or the fan or the air conditioner blowing around or whatever the noise is? Um, that's what it does, right? Here's an experiment just to give you an example. Try noticing everything in your environment, everything you hear, everything you smell, everything you see, and everything you feel all at once, all at the same time, right? Try to be aware of all of that stuff. Now, are you able to get anything else done?
No, I'm exhausted thinking about all that, actually.
Exactly. And that's how the RES works. It filters out. That's how you can be focused on writing or even watching a video or listening to music, and you can be just so focused on that people can walk up to you and talk to you and you don't even hear them, and then they tap you on your shoulder and you come loose, right? It's like, wow,
Ah,
what was that?
oh,
uh,
interesting.
because you're giving it all your attention to that input. um, the RES filters all of this input, and it only sends what is relevant to the conscious mind, uh, for it to work with, because that's all it can handle at any one time, right?
Mm,
As we just illustrated. So
yeah.
because the RAS is scientifically and neurologically studied, because it is a real thing, there is nothing magical or mystical about it. It is simply a neuronal structure that lets the conscious mind stay aware of what's most important without being overwhelmed by the enormous, uh, constant input that we're getting every second, every
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. It's just, it sounds like it's another miraculous system within our body, that we aren't even aware of. The older I get, the more I learn about all of these systems within our body. It's just such a complex, beautiful thing. We should all be grateful, I guess.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And the body's quite amazing, and that's the thing. It it does so much. It has, right. It has its own uh, pharmacology department in it. It has its own medical department, right. It can heal you. It heals broken bones or
Yeah.
skin, and does all this amazing stuff. And yet it's fully integrated with the mind.
Mm,
Why you can have a thought, on your way out of town. Oh, did I leave the iron on or the oven or the stove
mhm.
or whatever, right? And your whole body freaks out.
Yeah.
Like if they weren't connected, your body would just go on doing what it was doing, and your head would freak out. But the whole body's involved because it's all one thing, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you stay focused on the thoughts of having already achieved something
Hmm.
that you want to be, do, or have, the RAS looks for matching opportunities, that are always there. They're always there in one form or another, by the way. And then these opportunities matching your focus and intention, what you uh, are inserted into your consciousness, and then it happens. Oh, what a coincidence! I was just thinking about that, right?
Hmm.
Like the car, right? You see, you're looking for a new car, or you see a car that really impresses you, and then next thing you know, you start seeing it everywhere,
Hmm.
right? We've all had that experience, or
Oh,
whatever the thing is, you start seeing it everywhere,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Your
Absolutely.
RAS, yeah, your RAS did not create these cars, right? It just registered your level of interest and simply stopped
Mhm.
filtering them out. They were always there, um,
Hmm.
and just allowed your conscious mind to see them. It's kind of like, have you ever, quote unquote, lost your phone or your keys when they were actually in your hand, or the sunglasses on top of your head, and you were focused on, you know, you were focused on not being able to find them, that they were lost, right? You say, oh, they're lost. Where did I put them? And you freak out. I've actually started to call or text somebody on my phone saying my phone's lost. Like, oh, never mind. There it is. Okay. I got it.
Yeah, this
So,
this happens to me often. The sunglasses on the head is that's a classic for me. I've had my kids and people be, I'm getting ready to leave a restaurant or something. I'm like, oh, where are my sunglasses? Like, where are they? And somebody will be like, well, they're up on your head. And I'm like, oh, duh. um, so it sounds like, David, like the trick here is not to say that I lost, or a person, not to say you lost them, but rather to say something like, I know where I left them. I know those sunglasses are going to show up. And this way the brain can focus on where they are instead of on how they're lost. Is what am I understanding that?
That's the subtlety to this. Yes, it's the input about finding them or they're lost.
Yes, because the
Um,
brain doesn't. Yeah. Okay. I'm following you
so
now.
okay, all right, yeah. It seems simple, too simple, but it's it, it, words are incredibly
Wow.
powerful, and they tell your unconscious, right,
Mm-hmm.
what to do and how to be. I mean, it works in a way using confirmation bias
Mm.
to show you evidence and experiences of your consistent focus.
So, David, remind me again, and probably some of our audience is wondering too. What's confirmation bias?
Yeah, it's a little abstract, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's when your brain has a tendency to actively search for and remember information that supports what you currently give your focus to or believe. And at the same time, it automatically ignores or filters out any evidence that contradicts those current beliefs.
Oh,
So, in other words, if you think or believe something is not possible,
right.
the opportunities that, again, like the car, are there, are filtered out
Mm-hmm.
uh, of the input to the conscious mind. So, unless and until you change through your thoughts about it, they those opportunities of it being possible are unavailable.
Yeah. Those words that it just keeps coming up. The words in our thoughts are so powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's we don't, we need to move in the direction of what we want,
Mm-hmm.
not what we don't want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but this is the vehicle. Uh, this is how we change our experience, is through changing our focus, changing our thoughts. So
Mhm.
realizing other possibilities. This new area of impressionable and consistent focus is added into the cycle of the belief and expectation machine, which we talked about in episode 12. And there's a link to a PDF um, in the show notes, and also in the email if you get the email. Um, by the way, it doesn't pay attention to whether you like the output or not. This is why I don't want statements don't work,
Mm.
because it's replicating what you're focused on and impressed by, right? Like, don't think about a pink elephant.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
that's the classic example,
Mm-hmm.
right? This all it's working, as we said, 24/7. It's always on, except for when you're sleeping. Uh, it's working for you right now, and it's driven by your belief, your thoughts, your focus, and your beliefs. And so you don't actually need to create or adopt a new process to change your life. You just simply change your input to this one. You change your wording, you change
Mm-hmm.
what you allow to be
Yeah.
considered maybe possible.
Yeah, I think this whole system's another confirmation. And I think, this is our life goal, David and I's and any other life coaches, like just to help us to live our best lives, right? Like, so this whole system is another confirmation that paying attention to where and what you focus on is essential to creating the changes that you'd like to see in your life. I mean, um, back up to what David was saying there about don't think about the pink elephant, right? Like, I remember I've shared in other episodes about The Secret, with Rhonda Byrne and the neuroscientist there that said, commonly people will be like, oh, I hope I never get cancer. Well, instead of saying that, focus on, my body is healthy and it heals itself so quickly. So I think it's all along the same lines. It's just just this is so important. We can't say it enough, I guess.
Yeah, it really is, because most most people get caught up in it, right? You have to become
Hmm.
aware. That's where we talk about
Yeah.
um, listening to what you say, and listening to your what you say as a reaction to something, either verbally or in your mind.
Hmm.
So the trick to this, right? The trick to changing that is, at basic, right? At base is to pay attention to your the words you say and in your reactions, but you just simply change your focus.
Hmm.
And it's not a light switch. Don't worry about it being a light switch. You can't just flip it. It's just a practice. When you
A
say,
practice. Yeah.
that's not possible, right? I really want this thing, but that's not possible. Well, what if it was, right? And then you can start imagining and envisioning the outcome. And the trick here is to do it as if it's already in place, right? You see, hear, feel, and smell everything as you're already experiencing it. Because
Hmm.
again, here's another subtle thing. When you say, I want a better life, and you're focused on, I want a better life, and in doing that, what you're focused on is the lack of not having it.
Right.
So if you stop there at just, I want a better life, or I want this, or I want that, you're highlighting, right, the lack that you
Hmm.
don't have it. So if that's what you're focused on, that you don't have it, then that's going to be your experience, right? You're of
Yeah.
the experience of wanting it,
Hmm.
because you're focused on wanting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I just want to say, to our listeners that this is, and you've said this, David, we've said it over and over. It's a practice. You're not going to be perfect. David and I sometimes will be talking, and I find myself saying what it is I don't want, but I catch myself now. As you practice this more and more, it'll become more automatic. So, the first step is, like David just said, that awareness, and then just keep practicing it, but allowing yourself grace. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you feel like you want something to change, you can just kind of challenge it. You say, oh, that's not possible. And say, oh, is that really true? What if it was? And then focus on it becoming possible. A lot of times people say it can't be possible because they feel like there's an unknown gap between where they are and where they want to be, and they don't know how to get there. Well, so you say, okay, well, if it if it was possible, what would need to
Mhm.
be in place? And you start thinking about it. Then you start to become more familiar with it,
Yeah.
and that unknown starts. Then you go from impossible to improbable, right?
Mhm.
And then it starts to become probable, and then you just kind of work your way through it. It's not a doesn't have to be a light switch. It can be, but it
Right.
doesn't have to be.
And it
You know,
yeah, it's kind of believing that, like you kind of just alluded to that, but I think about our training through the schooling we went for our life coaching, the Mary Morrissey Institute, and she shares one of the stories at the beginning of all of our training that if she was talking with a client, I believe it was, and she said, if you don't believe it, do you believe that I believe it can happen for you, or it
right,
will happen for you? So yeah, that
right,
belief. Hmm.
yeah. Just having somebody else believe that it's possible kind of opens the door a little bit, right? It kind of
Yep.
cracks it open, and that's where you go from impossible to
Hmm.
you know
Hope.
possible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because the unconscious cannot tell the difference between what you see on the outside and
Hmm.
what you imagine or see on the inside, right? Your
Right.
visualizations. So it accepts both as input,
Mm.
and your response to that input is what is used as what to recreate and find new experiences that support that.
Right.
So, but again, it works 24/7, and it works, it's always working. Therefore,
Mhm.
it'll bring you whatever it is, whether you like it or not, right? It's, I really hope this, bad thing or whatever doesn't happen. Well, what are you focused on? The really
Right.
bad thing happening. So,
Yeah.
uh, So again, right, it's listening to your reactionary. The practice is to listen to your reactionary external and internal self-talk, and really, if you listen to that, and then you try to objectively compare it to what your current experience is, you're going to most likely find that it's similar and actually confirming, right? Your experience is going to confirm what your words are saying, and what your words are saying will be confirmed by your experience. So
Yeah.
this is where we start our practice of creating change.
Well, this means I better be careful of how I react to my experiences, or at the very least, notice what my reaction is, and to be sure, that the self talk in my head, or, the thoughts, is what I do want. So,
Right.
yep. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode. And next week, the topic is going to be careful how you wish for something.
Right.
All right. That's the show for this week. We hope you are feeling motivated, like you're ready to take on the world.
If you got value today, do us a huge favor, like and subscribe, and leave us a review. It helps us reach more people just like you.
You can find all our info in the show notes and connect with us at our website, thedavidandwendypodcast.com.
We'll see you next week. And remember, always be kind, loving, and compassionate to everyone you meet.